Welcome to Big Little Stories. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. My guest today spent decades telling other people's stories and built a respected career as a journalist, editor, and newsroom leader. But the story that shaped her most deeply is her own. Stacie Sherman is a mom to a daughter with autism. She also has a son with special needs, and her personal journey led her to be an author and advocate, using her skills as a journalist to fight for understanding, inclusion, and dignity for children and adults with autism and special needs. Stacie, it is such an honor to have you here today. Thank you for having this conversation with me. I think so many people know your name from the work that you've done. You were in the newsroom at Bloomberg for 30 years. So this is now the journalist in me talking, because I'm always curious, what drew you to journalism in the first place? Because I feel like that kind of is going to help us set the stage here a little bit.
Yeah, first of all, hello, Ivy.
Hi.
Great to meet you in person.
Yes.
We've known each other a long time, but
Yes.
never seen each other. So what drew me to journalism was I have been a writer for as long as I can remember. Writing for me has been therapy. It's been fun. It's just any time I needed to express myself, I would end up writing, and I wrote little poems and little stories. I was the dork who loved to write like book reports, and that's pretty much what led me in college to choose journalism.
Um, I'll just dork out with you for a second. When I was a little girl, I used to think it was fun to diagram sentences, like just for fun, because I still think it's fun. But the interesting thing to me, though, as journalists, right, our job is to tell other people's stories. At what point did you realize that your story was something that needed to be shared as well?
So it was during COVID. COVID changed me as it changed a lot of people. I was home working full time as a journalist, an editor at the time, and my two kids were home. And my two kids both have special needs. They're on opposite ends of the autism spectrum. My son has Asperger's. He's very high functioning, but he was attempting college at the time, and I needed to work one on one with him as he adjusted to being home with me, trying to pass tests, all of that. And at the same time, my daughter was home, and my daughter is severely autistic, nonverbal, dependent, and so I was juggling all of that while trying to keep a full-time job. And for years, people knew I had special needs kids, but that was the extent of it, really. At work, I kept my work and my personal life separate. And then COVID just changed all that. I felt like, and I think a lot of people felt that there needed to be more understanding about work-life balance and about, the things that largely women have to juggle in order to have a full-time job. And that's when I decided that I wanted my story to be told, and I've always wanted more awareness about autism. So that's where I got to work.
So you talk about the juggle. Your children, I should say, both of them are adults now. So you were working at this very high profile job, this very demanding job. Anyone who's spent any time in and around a newsroom know it's not for the weak. And you're also dealing with this at home. So how did you do I've heard people call this struggle of the juggle. What was that like for you? How did you manage to do that for all those years?
Well, before COVID, after COVID, my daughter is in a wonderful program. I mean, they were in school for a lot of it, and that really helped. I had respite help, that's like care in the home after work. And I mean, pretty much after five, I mean, I was available by phone, but I went to my second job, which was my kids,
Yeah.
and I focused on them. I mean, during COVID, I quite honestly don't know how I did it.
Yeah.
It was beyond rough.
Was it a difficult decision when you decided to start sharing? I mean, you said why you did it, but that actual feeling of being vulnerable and kind of, saying the stuff out loud that not everyone says, was that, what did that feel like for you? And was it, I don't know, was it weird? Were you immediately comfortable with it? Did you have to get used to it? What did your friends around you say? Were people surprised?
I was I felt like a weight had been
Mm-hmm.
lifted. I just felt like I had been holding something in for years and years. And I was like, you know what? I don't care what happens. If I lose my job, if I lose my friends or whatever, I want it out there. And I have to tell you, a lot of people, like, their jaws dropped once they read it. Even close family, my really, really close family, cousins, aunts, uncles, they knew I struggled, but they had no idea the extent of what went on in my home. And I'm talking about, my daughter is now 23. She cannot go to the bathroom unassisted. She cannot get dressed unassisted. And I don't think people knew the extent of, when I went home, what I was doing. Um, so colleagues, I think a lot of people were surprised, and but in a good way. I don't. I think people were I don't want to say amazed, but just like shocked, but complimentary is the word, maybe.
So I want to give people a sense of what we're talking about here. And you have a beautiful blog that's on your website, staciesherman.com. You also have a book, My Broken Road, The Tangled and Twisted Musings of an Autism Mama. But I want to, if you'll allow me to, Stacie, you wrote so many, your blogs are all so beautifully written. But you wrote something recently about Thanksgiving that I thought really just paints a beautiful picture. And you said, I know how difficult holidays can be. Yes, I feel that ache in my gut when I look across the room. I see all the normal cousins my daughter's age interacting with each other. Meanwhile, my kid is whimpering in a corner of the room by herself with her iPad and her 10th cup of soda. Yes, I keep misplacing my glass of wine when I have to get up continually to chase my daughter somewhere and make sure she is safe. Yes, my food is cold by the time I make my plate, and yes, I am the first to leave. Some years counting our blessings feels impossible. I know I've been there, but please trust me. It's better to count our blessings than to soak in our sadness. It's better to count our blessings than to soak in our sadness. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I think over the years, I have the only way I got through everything I've been through is by really trying so hard to see the positive. And it is not easy, but I I am blessed. I have two beautiful, wonderful, loving children. I have a fantastic family. I really, I know that I could sit home and cry and get drunk and never leave the house. And there are days I've done that. But for the most part, I really, it's the only way. Life is very short. And I just really, for the most part, I try and stay positive. And I think it's a good way to go.
What's the response that you get from other people in the autism community who I know look up to you and admire the way you're able to articulate what life is like?
I um, I get thank yous. I really do. I get thank you for being our voice, right? I did this to be Brielle, my daughter's voice, but I end up being sometimes. the parents' voice, all the things that they're going on in their house that they wish people knew, but they don't talk about. I just lay it all out there, right? I just tell the truth and I lay it out there. And if you don't like it, you can tell me. And a lot of people have told me, but I think other parents appreciate that it's out there.
So I mentioned the book. You mentioned your daughter. I know that the book is a collection of like diary entries, right, and blogs. There's one I read somewhere that you were particularly close to, and it's I hope you can read this someday, a birthday letter to your daughter. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, that brings tears to my eyes, right? Like, as a parent, you never want to give up hope, right? And you never do. There's always a piece of you that hopes that it's just going to click one day, because nobody, the cause of autism is still right. It's
Right.
there's all this controversy going on, so you never know. I mean, you never know, something will click. But I mean, the reality is my daughter's 23. She doesn't speak. I don't know if she ever will. I doubt she will. But it doesn't stop me from kind of getting in her face every once in a while and saying mom, or say it, try and say it. I know what she wants, but I want her to say it. Hoping she reads. You hear these stories about nonverbal kids or adults that suddenly they start typing. Hope is important. Realistic hope is kind of what I think. I will never give up hope, but I have to, start planning for reality in the future, which I've been doing a lot of lately.
And I've seen you also talk about how because your daughter doesn't speak, you feel a different kind of bond with her because you have to understand her in other ways, and that's a very special kind of mother-daughter bond that you have. Talk to me a little bit about that. How do you describe that bond?
I'm the queen of nonverbal communication. I feel like Brielle looks to me and nobody else to understand her, when she's upset, when she's frustrated, when she wants something. She looks to me, and I carry that responsibility. And so I've really, really tried to interpret her sounds and her movements and things like that. We have worked on communication with her. She uses an iPad program to speak her basic wants. I want juice. I want gum. I have to go to the bathroom. She can tell me that, but not things like I have a stomach ache,
Mm.
or I have a headache, or I don't want to go to this person's house, or it's really loud in here. So I have to be watching her at all times to kind of sense what's going on with her. Um, but I feel she knows that and she appreciates it. And I get it when she sometimes will just like sit there staring at me and make some sounds. I'm like, oh my God, I have to figure this out. I have to figure this out. I do a lot. I've gotten better at it over the years, and like I said, it's a responsibility that I really try, because if it's not me, she has no way of communicating.
How did you learn all about this? Was this trial and error, or I know every child as they're growing up is different. So where did you learn to be as wonderful as you are with your kids?
I mean, it's intuitive as a mother. I really think any good mom would do that. I know how much Brielle depends on me. And I know if anyone is going to be able to understand what she wants, what's hurting, what she needs, it's me. So
Yeah.
I pay really, really close attention to her. My poor husband, when we're in the house, I don't sit, like he'll say, let's watch a show. And if Brielle's in the house, I'm up listening for every sound, and um, I don't get to relax much, but
Yeah.
I take this responsibility very seriously.
Yeah. Ugh, you're doing such an amazing job. We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, more with Stacie Sherman. We'll be right back. Stacie, your children are both adults now. Does that make things easier or harder?
Oh, I guess day to day is easier. My son lives with my ex husband. He works full time. He's doing very well. He's independent. My daughter just moved out of this home. I'm in her room right now. Moved out of my home into a group home. What was that? Beginning of October. So she's not here day to day. I guess that's easier. But my brain doesn't stop working. I am one of those annoying moms. I'm checking up on her. I'm going to visit her. I'm constantly making sure that I really think with group homes, you have to really know what's going on in there. Just because she's not in my home, I'm her guardian, I'm her mom, and so the stress does not lessen. I'll say,
Yeah.
right? The day to day maybe lessen, but my stress level is pretty steady.
How has the way we view autism and the way we treat autism and even the way we talk about autism changed in the years that you've been in this world?
Well, I'll tell you, when my daughter was diagnosed with autism, that was 2004. And I remember being in the pediatrician's office, and they basically said, well, she has autism. And there was silence after that.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, what are we going to do about it? And she's like, well, you should get early intervention, which is for young kids getting help. She really didn't tell me anything else. And I'm a journalist. And so I start reading, I start going to conferences, I start just trying to understand what my daughter and my son had. And I was not going to just sit there and not do anything. And I think back then, a lot of pediatricians were like, I don't know how to help you, like go see a specialist. And I waited for a specialist. I am thrilled that nowadays, especially in New Jersey, there is a shift to help kids at a younger age and to help them to understand that autism, there's a lot of things going on with autism, stomach issues, seizures, feeding issues, eating issues, and those can be addressed at a young age, and they are. And so I'm thrilled that, okay, we're still hearing all about the cause and this and that, but in the meantime, they're addressing the symptoms and and trying to make things better with what they see and what they know. So that's a really positive change.
So I mentioned to you before we started talking here that once I sort of dove into your writing and your social media, I couldn't stop because it's really so beautiful. StacieSherman.com. But one of the things that I found, I believe it was on an Instagram post, you wrote, every time we think we survived the hardest part, we encounter a rude awakening.
Yeah, I thought, it's true. I mean, it's true in life, right? Like I thought there was a period where my daughter Brielle did not stop screaming. She was miserable for months at a time, didn't sleep, wouldn't something was bugging her, and I thought that was the worst ever. And then over the years, there's just been things like that. Like things come and go. Um, and then having my daughter move out into a group home, I think that was really, really tough. I
Yeah.
mean, mentally for me, letting go. And it was just probably the toughest thing I have ever been through.
What what do you want people to know about autism?
I think autism is more prevalent than people realize. And if it doesn't get more attention and acceptance, there's going to be autistic adults in the neighborhoods and in the communities that are not getting the help they need, and the less help they get, the more frustrated they are, and the less they're understood, the less they're doing. It's not just my problem. It's a community problem I'm thrilled that people are talking about it now more.
Yeah. So you mentioned you try to keep realistic hope. How do you keep realistic hope when times are tough? What gives you hope?
I don't really. Hope is I see change and I see improvement and things that I never ever thought would happen. And this, right? I thought getting in a group home, I didn't think it would happen for years and years. And it's my daughter, I think, is pretty young to get into one. And there's wait lists in New Jersey, and they're heartbreaking. And I know plenty parents that are waiting to get that kind of help. But things happen, and I count my blessings, like we talked about at Thanksgiving. I see change. I see more people talking about it. I see more people smile at me now and smile at my daughter. I used to get really awful looks and stares. So there's a lot to be hopeful about.
The website, I mentioned it a couple of times, is staciesherman.com. I encourage people who, whether you have a loved one with autism or not, to check out the website and the writing and the book. The book is My Broken Road: The Tangled and Twisted Musings of an Autism Mama. It is incredible, and it really speaks to the beauty of humanity, I think, as well. So, Stacie, we end every show with something we call 3 big little questions, and we do them rapid fire. Are you ready for them?
Okay.
All right. So the first one is, how do you get yourself out of a bad mood?
Oh man, I count my blessings. Have to say it. I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your go-to karaoke song?
It is "You Look Like You Love Me Lately." Yes. The
Really?
new song. That's a country song. I do a duet with my husband. Yes.
Aw, I love that. And what's one of your favorite spots in New Jersey?
Oh my. Grounds for Sculpture is a beautiful, beautiful place. I love it there.
Stacie, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Thank you for all the work that you do, all the work that you've done for years as a journalist also, but just reminding us of the power of beautiful writing and making a difference in the world, one story at a time. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ivy.
Of course. All right, I will talk to you soon, my friend. And that will do it for today's Big Little Stories. Be sure to check us out at Big Little Story Show on Instagram. I'm Ivy Sharmetz. I'll see you next time.